What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Rob Bear here with a look at the new White Dwarf. This is issue number 71, and of course, the Space Marines are here. Look at these sweet Devastators with their ridiculously, like, super space magnet boots and all that stuff. Man, this is a really cool issue, and I apologize I don't have a tripod, but we are going to one-hand true grit this whole video right here. This is going to be the ridiculousness. So, another great White Dwarf. Got a good paint splatter in here, some previews on the Devastator squads, all the new stuff coming out next week, and of course all the limited editions for the Space Marine Codex, and some cool spoilers about the Devastators themselves. So first up is, we've seen a lot of these pictures over the past week. You know, everything got spoiled last Saturday. Don't ask me how it happens that we get one White Dwarf ahead online and then all the stuff comes out. But you know, we've basically seen all these crazy pictures. You know, a lot of people are speculating about the boots and stuff here. Then you got a picture of this up here. That is not a plastic Thunderhawk, as much as I want it to be. That is definitely a resin Thunderhawk. Do not listen to anybody that says otherwise. But they got some interesting stuff in here about basically alluding to how, you know, the boots might be conferring relentless, very a lot of the same wording as the Dark Reapers for Eldar. So we might actually see something like that, which would be really cool, because having all these weapons, the ability to, you know, move and shoot, it's just ridiculous instead of snap shooting and things like that, because Devastator's a little bit underpowered, and it seems like, you know, with the addition of this, the addition of definitely a heavy grav cannon would be very good for dealing with a lot of the threats out there. Then of course you've got, you know, a preview of the new battle forces as well, which are in here, and to be honest, they look rather lackluster. I mean, I won't lie, like, this is not the battle forces we were used to back in the day. This is kind of some jank, to be honest. I mean, this thing right here is pretty much unplayable. Like, what is that? Like, I can pretty much get that in a Dark Vengeance box. Like, I'm very disappointed in this particular offering of product right here. But then again, it's Games Workshop. You win some, you lose some. You know, that's just the way it is when you're messing with that. So, of course, we've got the very first look at the Codex itself right here. So let's zoom in on that, kind of show it to you. Let that focus in, and boom, there it is. Really cool, kind of getting away from the whole black background, going to a more cheery kind of happy grimdark, so to speak. Some happy clouds and some happy bolt guns. And then we got the, you know, limited edition stuff right here, which, you know, it was definitely pointed out to me earlier today. These are just basically alternate arts of the existing cover arts that we've seen. And to be honest, I mean, they're very stylized, they're very cool looking, but when you compare them to what was already offered 2 years ago for the same price point of, you know, $165 for a limited edition set, you know, it's both good and bad. I feel like it's good in the fact that we need to support Games Workshop, because overall in the scheme of things, Games Workshop is not a big company. So, you know, if we want this game to continue, we definitely need to support them. I'm not saying give them all your hard-earned money, but I'm just saying, if you believe in something, you believe in the Space Marines, you know, maybe this is your jam. You believe in the Necrons, maybe that's your jam, the limited edition stuff. But then again, I feel like, you know, they need to go the extra mile, and they've really locked it down with the offerings, you know, the brush metal coins, you know, the limited edition data sheets, the art books, things like that. It's always really cool to see. But, you know, on the other hand, it's a little bit disappointing when they, you know, kind of phone this stuff in. But maybe some gamers don't know that that's the case. You know, it's definitely hard to say. So, good and bad, you know, definitely. I don't want to knock it, because I know how much work it takes, you know, doing all these videos and things for the Long War, for Spike Bits blog. I know how much work it takes to do these things and put out a quality product. So, you know, I know they're doing the work out there. It's just very disappointing to see something that might, you know, might be construed as subpar, unfortunately. The paint splatter is really good. I mean, we've seen how to paint this ultramarine blue in the past. We've kind of seen a little bit of this with some of the, you know, Adeptus Mechanicus stuff. The metals, of course, we've seen in the past, but there's some newer stuff, some newer tech here that's pretty cool to look at. You know, doing some of the grab amps, the grab generators, this stippled metal, you know, definitely a cool effect to do. And of course, next week, the little trailer here, a darker shade of blue, so we know that we're going to get another week of Space Marines, which we kind of already alluded to with the Librarians and the Dark Angels, the Chaplain itself. So, you know, just to kind of get into a little fluff sections here. Then we're going to kind of skip ahead. Theater of War, they kind of show you the tactical doctrine, the tactical objectives that you can take for these guys. Really cool stuff. I mean, there's always 6 extra ones, of course. There's one more thing I wanted to show you for sure. Oh, some of the stuff about the actual formations themselves, which we might be seeing in here. Now, a lot of people are speculating that we are going to see, you know, perhaps some return of, like, the Linebreaker Squadron, you know, the Vindicator, the cool Apocalypse formations from 2008, maybe these Land Raider Armored Spearhead. The book is roughly 200 pages. You know, it's basically the same price point as before, or excuse me, it's roughly the same price point as before, but with all the additional pages, there's only so much fluff you can put in here. So it's really interesting to see, hey, maybe there's a lot of formations, maybe a lot of detachments and things out there, because let's be honest, they need it to keep up in the grimdark universe of today. They really need a lot of ups, and everybody else pretty much seems to have that, you know, basically right now, then down. And you know, I was having a really in-depth discussion today about, you know, Xenos versus Codex Imperium. And basically what the conversation boiled down to was, it seems like a lot of the Xenos releases out there are basically like a standalone. Like they expect you to, Games Workshop of course, to buy 1,000 to 2,000 points of just say Eldar or just say Tau. And they expect you to be able to run that as a standalone and stand up against other stuff. And of course, you know, you can splash in different things like on the side, like maybe some Dark Eldar and things like that. But as a whole, it seems like, you know, they expect you to play all Tyranids, all Orcs, all Eldar, you know, stuff like that. But when it comes to Codex Imperium, it's really interesting to note, at least in my opinion and the opinion of some of the others, is that, you know, when you can see like Codex Mechanicus or Cult Mechanicus, for instance, when you can take 2 troop choices for 165 points and HQ that fits neatly in these little 500 point to 1,000 point, you know, ally packages, it's really interesting to note that, you know, why is that? Like, is that by design? It seems like it's by design. If you can take a book and you can break it apart and make something that basically fits in as an ally or a perfect ally, or a perfect Codex, you know, combined arms attachment that fits into those nice, neat little boxes, it almost seems like they do that stuff on purpose for us to be able to switch it out, because Codex, you know, Imperials, air quotes, you know, all of the Sisters, all of the Marines, all of the Imperial Guards, all that stuff that counts. Now all the Adeptus Mechanicus, you know, it's so much to draw from. You know, and it's really interesting. Oh, and of course you got the big spoilers back here. Well, so there's the back of the poster we saw for Age of Sigmar, which looks to be coming out 11th of July. And then the little teaser right here for what looks to be the release of the Librarian here in 2 weeks as well. So that's really interesting to see. And then of course Sigmar itself right there, boom. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on here that, you know, like I was saying, it definitely seems like the whole, you know, talking about the allies and things like that, they do this stuff on purpose. You know, it definitely feels that way to me, you know, which is fine. Like I said, you know, 7th edition 40k is definitely different from 6th, from 5th, from 4th. You know, there's certain things to interchange and to be played a certain way, you know, and this almost ups the game. Like, you know, I wrote this article, I guess a couple weeks ago, when talking about how I wouldn't want to be a tournament organizer right now, because basically, you know, they had this thing where everybody was complaining about Eldar, which was fine. I mean, you know, at face value, they seemed to be a problem. So everybody wanted to restrict them. So then the very next week, all those restricting Lords of War and things went out the window because Knights came out. And everybody wants the Lord of Wars because they want to play with the Knights, right? And then the very next week, you know, you wanted to ban, people wanted to ban formations. And that's fine. I can understand that. But then the very next week, all these cool formations come out for Cult Mechanicus, you know? So it's like 3 weeks in a row, you have all these things happen, this sequential series of events, that if you had restricted one, it would put these, you know, undue strain on the system for the other 2. And now we got Marines points to come out with like 2 formations, or possibly 20 pages of formations. Nobody really knows. You know, with what it seems like, Devastators that might be able to, you know, move and shoot, relentless, etc., basically by the design and the different fluff packages in here. I mean, check this out. They're basically talking about, you know, the like design echoes, you know, design of old stuff, you know, inertial dampeners, magnetic clamps. This is the exact same stuff that they talk about for Eldar Dark Reapers. And Eldar Dark Reapers can move and fire, you know? So take all that to heart. You know, oh, and definitely in here too, you know, it goes into how many missile launchers or how many bits come in this new kit, which I thought was really cool because it's always been an issue with some of these kits, like how many parts you get. And it says you basically get 2 of everything. And if you remember back in the day, it was very hard to get, I don't know where it is in here, but basically it says that there's 2 of every weapon that comes in this Devastator box, which is really cool because, you know, the missile launcher sold for like 10 to 15 bucks when it first came out. It's very hard to get. The multi-multi also, you know, once the change from 5th to 6th also went up in price because there's so much AP2 out there and it's very necessary. So, you know, having all those bits in here is a real bonus for not a whole lot of price, to be honest. I mean, once you take a look, oops, very slippery. Once you take a look at the price, in here, let's take a look. So we got the Space Marine Devastators that are coming out, and for United States, $46, which really isn't that bad when you consider you get 2 of each thing and the new weapon, the new heavy grav cannon, which is confirmed in this box. So taking all this to heart, you know, let's give Space Marines a chance. We don't know exactly what's out yet. We won't know until the codex comes out next week, but let's definitely give them a chance. See what these formations are about and see if this balances things out, because, you know, I think that we will see some really cool stuff coming out. So let's give it a chance. Let's see what happens and just kind of go from there. This is really exciting times. We get some really good looking models, you know, some really sweet redesigned stuff here, and we don't even know if this is the last of it. So that's about it for this one, guys. Just wanted to wrap it up and head on, get this thing on the internet here. We're gonna take a look at the assault squads and chapter upgrade series as well here in the next couple of videos that will be on the channel here too. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, check out the blog, spikybitsblog.com, and head on over to the Long War. That's the home of the battle reports. For exclusive content and early access videos, become a veteran of the Long War today.